We
Is
are.
this what channels? I was talking to Kevin, Spatial Kevin. He was asking what channels this is going to be on so
y-
he could watch.
Yeah, so this is we're streaming now. We're now on LinkedIn and we are on X.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Are we already live?
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh. Hello, world.
Yeah, man, it's been a while. I haven't seen you in a minute, and it's been so
Yeah.
cool to like follow your journey on LinkedIn and just see everything you're doing with Spatial. What's
Yeah.
up, guys? My name is Stilo. You already know what it is. You can enter the metaverse if you check out my website, stiloworld.com. We're here on the Momentum podcast. This is all about Jake Steinerman today. We're so grateful to have him here. He's an amazing person. He is working with Spatial right now and traveling the world, going to conferences, learning about Unity and everything going on in the gaming world. Jake, how are you? Thank you for being with us.
Still awesome to be here, man. It's so great to see you doing these shows, seeing how you've been growing and learning yourself. It's really awesome. We're looking forward to chatting with you with everything going on because there's a lot to chat about.
Definitely, man. It was great seeing you in 2021 in New York at NFT NYC, and it was definitely a big buzz around the event that Spatial and you guys threw over at the Samsung store in Soho. Yeah, could you I had a great time and
Yeah.
I told everybody about it. But yeah, I know that it was like really really talked about. It was a huge buzz. Can you just kind of like recap that's where we met. Can you just recap how that all transpired?
Yeah, I mean that day is like definitely one of the most memorable days of my life, and I know of yours as well, because that was an incredible experience. We really wanted to. So it's 2021, and I can't believe it's 2024 already. Like it's been 3 years, which is just absolutely wild to me how like that much time has gone by since that happened. Like I can the vibes that day were they were immaculate, as they say. Just like how everything went down from obviously getting to meet you in person that week at NFT NYC and just the whole the whole event. And then our team worked so hard to put that event together from Gia, who leads partnerships and enterprise on the spatial team, to so many on the spatial team who else put that together. We had incredible podcast shows being recorded that day, that our friend Howell was leading. So much happened, and we really wanted to highlight and showcase artists in their element doing the thing that they love to do, IRL. I think that was and still is the beauty of that artistic community and the artistic community as a whole, is being able to really show what you do and how well you do it. And I think you especially, we saw what you were doing, Stilo, on Spatial for such a long time back then, and he's been doing it nonstop ever since, which is just absolutely remarkable. It's got to be a Guinness World Record for like metaverse performance shows or just a performer in general, just like not stopping the grind for that long. We saw how hard you're working and grinding, and really saw something special in that, both in your your musical talent, and your awareness to connect the technology to the art. I really wanted to showcase that. And we had this epic stage at Samsung Next in New York, which has a 3-story tall screen in the space, and we kind of outfitted the whole venue with spatial experiences, people demoing spatial on devices and things like that. We had incredible panels. There was some amazing artists, who preceded you doing on the panels and culminated in your show at the end. And I think the most epic part, the thing that people still talk about, is how we took kind of I think what you started with these performances in the metaverse and brought it to real life and crossed those things over. And it did that. So basically, what we did is you were performing live on stage, and then we streamed your performance into spatial, and then put that performance up on the big screen behind you so people could see your performance in the metaverse, and people who are in that space kind of dancing and following along and celebrating with you there. So we brought those two worlds together, and that was something that didn't come about that aspect of it till literally the day before,
Right.
like the event. We were sitting, we were doing some testing this the mics and sound and everything like that, and we were playing with like visuals on this huge screen, like literally 3-story tall screen. Um, and I saw, we were sitting in the booth. I saw, there was basically running off a computer. And it's like, could this computer have a web browser? It's a computer. And they said, yeah. Does it have Chrome? Like, can we just load Spatial on here? And we tested it, and it ran. And Spatial, we had Spatial running on this huge screen. So we thought, what if we took like the live feed of your performance, and just put it into Spatial? And it worked, and it was incredible. I don't know if we've really ever seen, even to this day, really, a performance that's done that crossover together. And I think that was a real hallmark moment for creators in general, to showcase what's possible. But for you, I know you and Benny were having like a killer time on stage. Like that was just so fun to watch. Like those videos pop up in my feed all the time. Such a great moment.
Totally. I think that was like one of the best events, and I remember reading articles because there was other events as well with like celebrities and a lot of really cool things happening. But this one really struck a chord, like an organic chord, with a lot of people that are in the community watching what's going on in the digital communities. It was just so impressive what you guys did, and the crowd, the people, the cheering after the event, the performance, everything, the panel sessions, the environment, you really hit it on the nail. And I think even with the user index of Spatial, it really has a beautiful look to it. It's polished, gives me a very modern technology, but it's simple and easy to read, easy to use. You
Yeah.
drag in and all kinds of things, and that really translates with the crew and the event that you guys threw, and it was amazing. And thank you for
Yeah.
letting me be a part of that. That was a great memory, and I know it was engraved in a lot of people's memories just because of the type of experience it was. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome.
I remember like before I was about to go on, a friend was texting me. He's like, "Bro, I'm late to the event, man. But I'm gonna jump into the app and watch you." So he said he was watching from like in traffic, in his phone while he was there. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I love the whole 3D social multiplayer online experience. I believe that AR VR is trending up, and it's being used more and more daily. So your journey has been impressive, Jake. It's been like
Thank you.
over 10 years,
Yeah.
and you're building a platform like Spatial, that pushes the boundaries of this all, this immersive tech. So, can you walk us through your passion for AR, like where it all began for AR and VR, how you discovered it, what kind of led to that road, and how it evolved to where you are now?
Yeah. How much time do we have? 'Cause it's been a journey. It's been a journey for sure. I mean, I've always been into tech, into the newest tech, the next generation tech. I mean, as a kid, I was following along like Apple rumors like every day. Like I was an early reader of Engadget and what was it called, the TUAW for the OGs, the unofficial Apple weblog, and all these sites. I was like literally in high school, I'd be refreshing Engadget, which became which still exists, but eventually became the Verge and stuff like that. I'd refresh that all the time, looking for all the latest Apple rumors. And for years, I was telling people, there's going to be a touchscreen iPod coming up, touchscreen iPod, and eventually it became the iPhone. That launched. So I'd always been into the latest greatest technology as soon as it launched. Even had a blog like when I was back in like middle school and stuff too, with all like the big tech announcements. So I'd always been into that. My kind of like the kind of hockey stick moment for me in terms of my engagement and involvement in the industry came with Google Glass when that launched 11 years ago now. So I was a glass hole back then. But that was, for those who don't know, and I think, oh, do I have it here? I have like a little museum of headsets. I'm
Yes.
trying to see if I have, I can't find it right now, but I have it somewhere here. But for those who don't know, that was a headset from Google, a little glass prism display that projected, heads up display notifications, texts, things like that, and I also had a camera built in as well. So it was kind of very early modern, it's not really a mixed reality device. I call it more heads up display. So that's really what got me into that, was seeing that technology. That got me really excited for the future and seeing the possibilities of the future. And I was working at a big manufacturing company at the time on the tech side of things, and really tried to bring that technology into the company, like showcasing the possibilities of what this could bring, saying like, people are going to eventually be wearing this every single day, and this is going to replace your phone. Everything from analyzing server farms to scientists in the field and how they could collaborate with colleagues back in laboratories and things like that. There was all different kinds of use cases for it. So really pushed that for a long time, and eventually went on to go and start the first AR and VR team at that company, where we built VR applications for exploring sites and offices, to augmented reality applications for plastic packaging and physics drop test simulations, all kinds of really cool stuff. That brought me into really diving into augmented reality even further. Went to go work at a company called PTC on their software Vuforia, which was one of the very first augmented reality platforms. So you can build augmented reality apps really easily using Unity. Apps that run in your phone. You didn't require a headset, so you can just point your phone, at an object and recognize a car, and they can show you all the internals of a car, stuff like that. And went on to work there for a number of years. So that experience got me really exposed to real world use cases of augmented reality. I got to go and travel the country and the world, seeing how companies, manufacturing companies, car companies, things like that would use augmented reality in their everyday to build cars, to build all kinds of products, to train people on how to do things. It was really interesting and eye-opening to not just sit behind a computer and read Twitter or whatever, but actually be out there in the field and see how much or how little people knew about the technology. Going out to like rural Wisconsin or to Austria and all kinds of places and meeting people was really, really fascinating to see. And that brought me to Spatial, which Spatial, the company, launched in 2018, 2019, with the launch of the HoloLens 2 from Microsoft's heads-up display headset, which actually just today announced that they're sunsetting that device. So RIP to the HoloLens.
No way.
But it's been out for a number of years, so I'm not too surprised. But so Spatial was one of the launch apps on that device and had a lot of similar crossover to the work I was doing at Vuforia PTC. And Spatial at the time was very focused on enterprise collaboration. How can you make it feel like your colleagues, your friends are in the same room with you, even if they're not physically present? And that's what like a device, like a wearable device like the HoloLens, was good at doing, because you weren't holding up your phone. It was just kind of naturally putting holograms in your space. And the field of view is very narrow, but you still kind of got the sense that there were other people in your physical environment.
Mm-hmm.
And Spatial really stood out because the avatars were at the time focused on realism. You would take a picture of yourself and it would use AI to apply that photo to an avatar body. And that was something that stood out to me as a user of Spatial at the time, was, they're a big differentiating factor. That on top of just the usability of the platform as a whole. So that drew me into the company as well. So when I got an opportunity to join the team, I really jumped on that and was excited to do it. And then shortly after joining, NFT started booming and was really becoming, and we saw people naturally using Spatial, not as a platform for work, but as a platform for showcasing art and wanting to have these social experiences around their art. So we really wanted to dive into that and do what we could to support artists even further. So we added a lot more features around, art integration and immersive experiences, focusing on the web as well. That's where most artists are and were and are at the time was on web and mobile, VR being a small important but smaller percentage of how people are using the platform. When we kept diving into that further, adding more immersiveness, more interactivity, to the point where the platform naturally transformed into more of a gaming platform. But the art is still there and still very important. And gaming, of course, is itself an art form. But the platform naturally became more about interactivity, more about games, gamification, things like that, and that's where we find ourselves, ultimately today. So hopefully I didn't drag on there, but that's a
Yeah.
very short version of from like the last 10 years of my life.
And a great history of kind of the timeline of how VR came, AR came, VR, and then 2018 going into spatial. Uh, Discovering spatial for the first time, what was it like for you when you went in a virtual reality in with the MetaQuest? What was that like for you the first time? If you could just describe that for us, like, because for me, that aha moment is like I can't ever forget it. So,
Yeah,
what's it like for people that maybe have never tried it?
yeah. So the first time I was in what we now call the MetaQuest, the first headset I was in was the Oculus DK1. So that was pre Facebook,
Wow.
pre Meta. The company was founded by a guy named Palmer Luckey, who eventually sold it to Facebook/Meta. And the DK1 was the very first public prototype headset that you could acquire. I tried it at a conference. It was a terrible experience because I put it on, there was literally nothing in there, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it on. So there was like my first experience, nothing. I was like, cool, I'm in a headset, I don't see anything, I don't really get it. Second time, I think the first real VR experience that I so I would real VR experience I would consider kind of the more modern headsets like the Oculus, like the Oculus Rift. I would consider like more modern VR. Like there's been VR experiences like Google Cardboard, where you can put your phone in a cardboard headset and basically turns the phone into like a very lightweight VR experience, like very, very lightweight, very simple. There was those kinds of things which are interesting and you can like view 360 videos, so it's a little more immersive, maybe some very, very lightweight experiences there. And I thought that was really cool because it made VR very accessible. But my first kind of memorable VR experience, I think, was in the Microsoft store in Sydney, Australia. I was in Australia at the time. This must have been probably was 2016. In the Microsoft store, they were. It wasn't an Oculus headset. It was probably one of HP's headsets. Microsoft at the time was doing had a lot of partners building headsets as well, like Dell and HP and others. And they had some of their game demos set up in the store. So I remember getting to put that on, and you can shoot bow and arrows from like the tops of castles to like enemies, kind of like a tower defense style game. And just feeling that depth, like what you feel like when you pick up a bow and arrow, it really felt with some of the haptic feedback and using two controllers, you really felt like you were picking up a physical object, and that getting that sense of depth of like when you shoot it, you can actually kind of like lean over and look down and get this sense of height and things like that. That was really a lot of what did it for me. That full immersion, that full embodiment. That's what's different between VR and other experiences, that you feel fully embodied in the experience. And VR experiences that take advantage of that are the ones, that are ultimately the best, not ones that, you know, just put up 2D screens in front of you,
Hmm.
but ones that actually make you feel like you're embodied in the experience. You can pick things up, you can move things to the side. You get that sense of depth and height, and immersion. That first experience I had, which was that really big wow factor for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like as you were talking about earlier, there was like a percentage of people that were there was a percentage of people that were on desktop, maybe like 70%. Then we had maybe 25% mobile, and then maybe at one point it was like 5% VR. Um, so as we see this, and as you experience virtual reality, I want to include everybody, and I want to say, hey, we have a desktop, right? Like I go on to spatial on my computer and I have this experience. I had this experience this morning with a friend showing him my new Unity build. And he's in Italy. We're just cruising around on golf carts. I'm giving him a tour and we're talking about everything that's been going on and everything. And it kind of struck me as like a 3D FaceTime. But we were talking about the creations, the ideas, the things that are coming. So what's it like? What do you see the desktop and the mobile and the virtual reality? How do you see this marrying together and coming together? And maybe how do you see spatial moving along through that? Or,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think they're all part of the same ecosystem. It's right. It's all about accessibility. Obviously, there are some experiences that are better experienced in virtual reality that take, like the developer or the creator takes more advantage of that embodiment that I was talking about. But ultimately, like it's about accessibility, and that's why web has grown so much, right? Especially, since COVID, more people are at home, more people are sitting at the desk and things like that. Like you're in front of your computer, clicking out. There's nothing easier, on a computer than clicking a link and boom, opening a browser, which everyone has a web browser on the device. It opens up. It's super easy. On your phone, you're on the go. Boom, you click a link. You're in that experience. Like no matter where you are, you're able to get into those experiences. Obviously, if you want to look at, maybe not obviously, but long term, as right now there's still clear differences between these devices and between the situation that you find yourself in when you're using that device. So if you're sitting at your desk, you're going to be using your laptop. If you're on the bus or
right,
you're out at the park or whatever, like you're going to be on your phone, but you still want to be part of that experience. Just like it's exactly like the story you told me. You
totally.
were going on stage to perform. Your friend couldn't get there in time in person. He was in the car. Boom, let me open up my phone. It's right there. I can be in that experience. Long term, say in the next 5 to 10 years, things like the mobile experience will merge, say, with the VR experience. Like VR is becoming more mobile as VR start, like especially Meta pushing this and Apple of course as well, um, being able to have mixed reality experiences on devices that are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Like the Meta Quest 3 is much smaller and lighter. I mean, this is the 2. Like this is more portable than this is the here of my museum. Here's a Quest 1. Here's a Quest 1. Here's a Quest 2. You can see it's a little bit smaller.
Wow.
Quest 3 is even in lighter. I just ordered the Quest 3S that's coming out in 2 weeks. Like
Mm,
that's from a price point more accessible. But you look at what Meta announced with their Orion glasses, right? That's the ultimate. That is the ultimate vision, like the holy grail of what's been talked about for ultimately decades. Is this form factor? It's a regular pair of glasses. What they showed was augmented reality or mixed reality, but there's no reason why. I don't know how long this might be. That device can do both, a virtual reality and mixed reality. Right now, it's putting holograms in your real world, which I think is the ultimate form factor because you're not cut off from the people around you. You can have limitless experiences, but still see the person sitting across from you. They can see you, that kind of stuff. But if you wanted to go in and have that immersive experience, and you go off to the side and you really wanted to, or you're at home on the couch and you just want to let's go to a concert, and it becomes fully enveloped instead of seeing the world around you, it covers that up with a virtual environment. These devices are going to be able to do that. Like the Magically 2, the Apple Vision Pro, they can do things where they block out specific parts of your real world, or even the Quest can do it too. They can bring in, you're in a fully virtual experience, they can bring in the real world in just bits and pieces into that virtual experience. You can really have merged experiences. So that's where it's going. It's all part of the same ecosystem. But eventually, we'll just be having just a pair of glasses to experience it all.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. That was a really, really nice aha moment for me. I do see virtual reality becoming tied to a bit more of a mobile experience where you can be on the go, be anywhere you're at, and experience something in a different way. Totally, totally. That was a really cool thing. Gives me a lot of light,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. definitely.
And so gaming has been a major driver in technological advancement. You know, we have a lot of really cool games and things happening online. You know, we have consoles connected from all over the world. People are having experiences, uh, having memories, and a lot of that's with gaming. And now we see a little bit more of a social shift. I really do. See that in my timeline a lot, and I see virtual events, I see virtual interactions leading to more collaborations, real time like data being shared within each other. So how do you see the role of gaming evolving in a social experience? You know, for me, my dream would be to have a concert and have a racetrack around me and seeing people race with a
Hmm.
and with a leaderboard and have a concert at the same time. And while you're racing, you can look to your left and see
Hmm.
Stilo on the decks and a huge dance floor going crazy.
Hmm.
So how do you see these experiences transforming the way we socialize, work, or create?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you look at it's not, I don't think it's something that's like, let's look to the future and see how this is going to maybe happen or something like that. It's been happening. It's been happening for years. I mean, it's been happening for decades ultimately, right? Like, having LAN parties at home with your friends with World of Warcraft or Mario, or I remember going to my friend's house and playing 007, right? Like, it's always been a social experience. Like, gaming has always been a social experience, whether that's Duck Hunt, at the arcade, or
Hmm.
or whether that's kind of modern gaming. But again, it comes back to the accessibility, is that you can connect now with more people all over the world, like in a different context. Obviously, you've been able to do that with like Xbox Live, with I remember playing Halos 2 and 3, and with random people all over the world, or Call of Duty, all these different things. It's always been a social experience. Collaboration, socializing, all that kind of stuff. I played a lot of Call of Duty at the beginning of COVID with colleagues and friends. Um, but it's starting to branch out into the arts more, right? Kind of like you talk about those concert experiences,
Mm.
like in Fortnite and Roblox and these other things, where it's not just let's go and go on a mission together and shoot and do this kind of stuff. It's like, no, let's meet up, let's have a social experience together. Like, it's becoming more like, let's meet at this place and do an activity, right? And that place can be different within that platform. Like, let's go to Stilo's concert, or let's go to Lisbeth's African safari, or other things like that, and have an activity. So it's not always about like an intense gaming experience,
Totally.
but more of just a digital virtual experience that might have gamification elements to it, just to help drive the social interaction, per se. So that's
Absolutely.
definitely that's definitely happening a lot more, and these platforms are becoming more accessible because things. You can play them on your computer, you can play them on your consoles, whatever, however you're most comfortable. But it's still the same experience at the end of the day, and they're starting to merge more, right? Where you're seeing a lot more, especially among like Gen Alpha and Gen Z, a lot more commerce happening within these platforms, whether they're buying virtual cosmetics, or even sometimes those are translating to physical products as well. There's a lot of that happening, millions and millions of dollars being spent by Gen Alpha, Gen Z in Roblox, in games like Gorilla Tag, in VR,
Oh,
and other things like that. Like, these are becoming just how the kind of the default way that people socialize. Is that always? I mean, I'll be totally transparent with you, as someone who's a parent of a 1 year old. Is that necessarily always the future that I want them to have? No, I hope there are some ways, and that's why I'm excited about augmented reality. Are there ways that we can bring that virtual experience, which is still kind of socially isolating today? Like, you're at home, yes, you're socializing with people online, and you're socializing, but you're still, like, at the end of the day, you're at home. When I talked about those LAN gaming parties and stuff like that, I would go to my friend's house, and there would be that in-person component of playing games, where we sit around the TV and play together. That's becoming less of a thing. So I'm hoping that these virtual experiences, these gaming experiences that we're having today, that can be done in VR or on your desk computer or on your phone, can translate into in-person gaming experiences. So that's why things like AR glasses and stuff like that become exciting, because you can bring those two things together. Like imagine having a Fortnite match in your park down the street, and you go down, or like one of the coolest things I ever saw that did this. I lived in Chicago for a couple of years, which kind of de facto became like I don't know why, became sort of like the home for Pokemon Go. It was like one of the largest communities of Pokemon Go players, and I moved there like just when Pokemon Go launched. I lived across the street from Lincoln Park. I lived in Lincoln Park, right across the street from the park itself. And every year they would have the Pokemon Go Fest. And of course, throughout the world, you would always see people standing on street corners playing Pokemon Go together. But it really hit home when you would have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world come to Chicago to play
Wow.
this game together. And they were playing IRL, like in person,
Whoa.
face to face, meeting with each other. And you'd be on your phone, but you actually have real in-person interactions.
Yes.
So it's those kinds of things that are really exciting, and that's why I think stuff that worked like Niantic, which was a spin-off of Google. They're the creators behind Pokemon Go, and they've done a Harry Potter version, they've done other versions of that type of AR experience. I think are really exciting,
Man.
and they've always been at the forefront of showing what's possible with some of these devices. If you look at some of the keynote announcements for some of these headsets, like they're always in there showcasing like their experiences are going to come there. I think that's really, really cool. I think that's the kind of gaming, if there's if and when there will be that gaming future, that's the kind that I really want to see more of, is promoting that in-person social interaction.
I love that. I love that. Yes. So, yeah, like you just remind me of a Pokemon Go meetup I went to last month, and they gave me a free tote bag. And it was so cool. There was like so many people we met at the Starbucks. It was awesome.
Isn't it wild that that's still going?
Wild.
Like that game launched 8 years ago. I think I moved to Chicago in 2016, and I think that was the year that Pokemon Go launched. That was 8 years ago. And that's almost a decade of one game still being played like that. I don't think
Wow.
there's like any. Has there been any other video game outside of maybe like World of Warcraft or things like that that has been played for that long, that consistently?
And
I
and it's
I
in
can't think of
AR,
many.
and it's in augmented, it's in AR.
Yeah,
It's crazy, and that experience is awesome, to be able
yeah,
to
and
find
that's
Pokemon and with
yeah, and I was gonna that's a great example of sort of what can become that hybrid experience I talked about, where you
totally.
can start in augmented reality and go into virtual reality, because you can play the whole game without going into turning on your camera, but you still have to go out into the physical world. You can experience it in a fully like virtual environment, but you can move into that AR experience, and that's seeing that on a bigger scale, right, on a headset. You can be walking down the street, but it's virtual, and then hey, I actually want to see the real world. Kind of flick a switch and you see the real street in front of you, or whatever. Those are that's a great example of
Totally.
an experience that can be both of those things.
Totally agree. Um, Gorilla Tag, you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
What a interesting experience, like, because I'm looking up, like, what are the two biggest things going on right now in VR or in gaming? Uh, Roblox and Gorilla Tag. And
Yeah.
I looked up Gorilla Tag. I was really intrigued by the pixels, and that the experience is what is bringing people there, not the aesthetic, because
Oh yeah.
you automatically assume, you go, wow, well, a virtual reality experience, it's got to be futuristic, it's got to be like some cyber city in the year 4000.
Yeah.
So that one really blew me away. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show you, graphics, especially in VR, like graphics are not important. They're like, to a degree, right? Like you do not have to have AAA graphics to have a good gaming experience. It's arguably one of the lesser important things in a game. It's all what's unique about. It's not unique about Grail Tag, but I think Grail Tag is a good example of. is that embodiment and socialization are really the two most important things when it comes to a VR experience. Like you don't have to, as long as
Right.
you feel immersed and feel embodied in that experience, like mouths are moving as you talk or your hands are tracked and things like that, like then you feel immersed. It doesn't have to be this high quality experience, and you were kind of forced in that direction because VR headsets are effectively mobile devices. You're dealing with mobile chipsets, so you're dealing with lower powered devices than obviously like a console. So developers are generally forced into, and I'm talking mobile VR. I'm not talking about PC VR. Generally forced into having to deal with um, uh, using lower quality graphics. So Gorilla Tag is a great example of that because kids just want to go there. Really, it's the new playground for them. They
Right.
go in and they can be kids. They can swing around as monkeys. They can have adventures. But they're also spending money in these experiences too. The Gorilla Tag has made, I think what was the revenue the other day? It was like, is it $100 million a month or
Woo.
$100 million a year? It's absolutely. I'm just googling it now just to get the right. Yeah. Oh yeah, they've earned $100 million in the 3 years since release.
Wow.
Um, and it's all in-game cosmetics. The game is
That's
free, and you can
insane.
play the game completely for free. But the players just want to buy cosmetics, and they are released in seasonal updates. And the reason why they're so popular is because it's all about the socialization. You want to stand out, just like a new pair of shoes drops,
Right.
or a new fit becomes available. You want to have that unique look to stand out amongst your friends, your peers, etc. The same thing is happening there, where the virtual experience matters so much more because that's where you're spending all your time. Like that matters so much more. You care about what you look like versus if you're not socializing in the physical real world as much, you're going to care more about your virtual look. So
Totally.
that's why so much money is being spent there. So it's becoming like the new playground. So
Right.
it's a really fascinating thing, and you're seeing a lot more
Wow.
experiences like that bubbling up in virtual reality as well.
Yeah, I so on Wednesdays I throw this weekly concert,
Yeah.
143 weeks in a row next week. Um,
Congratulations, by the way. Like I said before, that's
oh,
just mind blowing to me
thank you.
that you've kept that up.
Oh man, it's because I see it. I really do
Yeah.
see in-game assets, coming. They're here. I see in-game assets. I see a different way to express yourself with music, art, social wise. Like for the first time, I was feeling very siloed. In like 2018, Instagram. I didn't know there was algorithms. So when I found
Hmm.
spatial, I'm like, wow, there's no algorithm here. I just send a link and make friends online.
Hmm.
So I made friends and I sent the link and I said I'm gonna be here every Wednesday. And sure enough, it's been that many weeks. Tomorrow morning, though, what I love is it's called Super Wednesday now because there's a bunch of really cool events happening. So in the morning, I wake up and I go to Mitch Jackson. He's a attorney at law,
Yeah.
amazing person, great public speaker, and so much value to offer. And I love that he sees it too. And so I go in, I sit down, I bring my notebook, I take notes, and he gives things to give away. How far like for other creators, how far are we away? Is it possible right now for him to create a file that's downloadable or a book? Because he's giving like an AI law, 48 laws of AI laws, things like that. I want to buy that with spatial coins. Can I buy that can he create an asset that I can read like a PDF or display in my space and flip through? Um, you know,
Yeah.
it, this might be like a
Yeah.
Unity question, but like a creator.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great question. Yeah, I mean, definitely, like the in experience in game commerce like that is definitely possible, whether it's a PDF or what have you. I mean, speaking specifically of spatial, there's different ways to do that. Of course, he can, and I see he's watching the stream now. Hey, Mitch. Um, so yeah, there's different ways to do that. Whether he wanted to give it away, he could simply embed a link in this space that takes you to to download that PDF, or maybe it takes you to Amazon to go purchase it. If you want to purchase it, off platform.
Mm,
But if you wanted to maintain, and that could be like a port, you drop a portal, and that portal takes you to a third party,
right.
any site,
Right.
basically. But if you wanted to transact specifically within Spatial, you can effectively put it, say, behind the link to it can be behind almost like a paywall if you wanted to have like a literal wall. um, and in order to open up that wall or that vault to get access to that link, to download that file, it would bring up, hey, before you can access this, you have to purchase the Mitch Jackson PDF ticket, effectively, and that ticket is an item, and then it'll bring up, hey, here, pay X number of coins to get this ticket, and then we can check your backpack and say, hey, does Stilo own this ticket? If so, open the doors, give them access to the link to download it. If not, you'll have to
Nice.
bring up that paywall. So there are ways to transact, kind of other items other than avatars and stuff like that in the experience.
Right.
Don't know if I've seen too many experiences do that. And that also goes for, say, like event tickets, right? You can have, say, like you want to start selling tickets to your concerts. You can have, say, a physical venue. Anyone should be allowed to enter the spatial space. You don't want to kick people out right away. Anyone should be allowed to enter the space. They can walk up to, say, like the venue door,
Right.
just like a real stadium,
Right.
a
Right.
real venue. And they get out to the door and say, oh, do you already own a Stilo ticket, a ticket to the show? If not, like, pop up the interface to, here, spend X number of coins to buy a ticket, and that ticket is a basic item within Spatial Studio. You go and create that within Spatial Studio. It's a basic item, so it's not tied to a 3D object in the space.
Right. I
It's
love
just a
that.
basic item. Yeah, so you can say, hey, does this person own this basic item? And you just call it a concert ticket. If they do, doors open, go and enjoy the show. If not, pop up and prompt someone to purchase it.
I love that.
Um,
Oh my God.
so there are ways to transact within the experience itself, outside of avatars or emotes and those kinds of things.
Right. I love that. That I think that's a big driver for creators. I really think like that is the home run where if we can raise awareness or create an example, lead by example, and create an ecosystem, within our ecosystem, that is just winning, for any digital creator, and it would, I think it's a very attractive, it's a beautiful thing. I'd love to talk about how we can empower creators and how creators can, what can they do? Because a lot of the things that you say, you really give a lot of bright lights, a lot of aha moments. You fire up the neurons, and you get us thinking. So
Yeah.
I love that. I really do believe that's a big deal. I would love, what do you think about fashion and how that could be integrated in spatial?
Yeah.
Is there a marketplace coming? I hear marketplaces are a great driver and a great connector for community and
Yeah,
creators.
that's fine. I laugh when you say, "What do you think about fashion?" Because I'm like, consider myself the least fashionable person. Like, my wardrobe consists of like a t-shirt and shorts, and no shoes because I work from home. I'm like the least fashionable person.
I got the dope
Um,
Stilo Music Club tee on,
I know I got a cop one of those. Those are
dude.
sick, man.
And guess what? The NFC chip opens up
Mm.
spatial.
Oh, that's sick. That's a spatial. I think it's like our first like spatial like shirt. That's really cool.
Yeah.
See, man, you're leading the charge.
And the back says, "I believe
You're
in
not just
myself."
talking, you're building. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the song.
I just got into Unity, Jake. So look out, man, because
I saw.
I'm gonna be learning, and I'm gonna be putting in some work. So look out
Yeah,
for
you're
your boy.
becoming a dangerous man. You're becoming a dangerous man. You're
Hey.
not just performing, you're building, and I love that. Like you, that's how you like from you how you've been growing. You haven't just been grinding in one direction, like making art. You're actually you're diving into the tech you want to. You've been collaborating, of course. You've been doing incredible collaborations with the community, but you're also been like saying like, hey, no, I want to actually like learn this technology. I just don't want to be one of these people that just like talks about it, like a LinkedIn talking head or whatever. I want to actually learn it and build it. So I definitely applaud you
Thank you.
for doing that. That's really awesome to see. Um, so to your question on fashion and how not fashionable I am, beyond how not fashionable I am, we'll move past that. Yeah, I think that's really really key. Obviously, we touched on it to a degree with like Gorilla Tag and how that's not really fashion, but cosmetics and just how you represent yourself. But I think
But what about like
from
spatial, like in
yeah
spatial?
yeah yeah yeah. Yeah. So don't currently have a marketplace wait, okay. Let me stop there. We have our avatar store, so we do have a marketplace. So I'm not. So let me take a step back. We do have a marketplace for people to sell avatars, auras, which I think is a very unique
Yes.
aspect to digital fashion. Right, we've seen a lot of creators on the platform who've built some incredible auras that are in the avatar store. Um, there as well. So I think what's really special about Spatial, as a platform, the community there is the diversity of the type of fashion you have there. There's no set style or design that you'll see on the platform. Like if you look at like Roblox or these other platforms, like there's a certain aesthetic that those keep, but Spatial we don't want to keep creators and artists buttoned down to a specific style. We want everyone to be able to create their own style, their own design with their own communities across the platform. Which is why I think it's amazing. You'll go on there and you'll see some incredible anime avatars from, say, Garden Bee, and then you'll see some incredible avatars from Lisbeth from the African safari space, and you'll see all kinds of other creations and avatars and designs as well. And I think it really speaks to the unlimited possibilities of this technology, where you're not limited by you know the physics of reality when it comes to fashion. You can have some really out of this world looks, and as again people spend more and more time in these experiences, that
Mm.
becomes more and more valuable. So you can have fashion that you wouldn't be able to access in the real world because of the simple laws of physics and how materials float or draped or what they're made out of. Like there's one outfit on the Avatar store that's made of bubbles, right, and things like that, or one that's a lava man. He's made of lava. So there's all these kinds of things that I think are really really interesting on there
I
as well.
agree.
So having our avatar store, which consists of more than just avatars, it consists of the emotes and dance moves and auras, is I think it was a huge turning point
Totally.
for our community and for these virtual experiences as a whole. And we really wanted to open it up to as many creators as possible, while maintaining a certain quality level, of course. So there is a pathway to applying and getting your content on the store. But that's to ensure that because whatever's on the store is representative of everything else on the store and all the other the creators on the store.
Hmm.
Um,
So,
but that's not to say creators can also within their own experiences. So Avatar Store is a public platform, top down level place to acquire these incredible pieces of fashion. Um, but there's thousands of creators building their own experiences with their own stores and shops within their own experience as well, catering to their own communities or being discovered by other communities as well. So
and
there's
guys,
really both ways to go about it.
this is on spatial.io. So if you're listening, watching this back, learning about digital communities, metaverse experiences, 3D multiplayer social experiences, This is where you can find it, and this is Jake. Just wanted to, let people know that we are talking about spatial.io, and it's great to thank you, for sharing the store and how it works, and how creators have stores within their world. Very
Yeah.
cool stuff. So I got some questions here. Let's see. So, is there any plans to create a marketplace specifically for wearables, allowing users to retain their digital identity with the same avatar while having the flexibility to change outfits? So,
Okay.
like I
Yeah.
think
So
I
that.
think that's a great question, because
Yeah.
I feel like, man, if people knew they could create fashion, real easy, and sell it and wear it, and I think that'd be a really big driver for creators.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think we look a lot to our partners like at Ready Player Me, who've done a great job of creating a great interoperable platform where you can take your avatars and your designs that or your fashion that you put on your avatar and take it to other platforms outside of spatial. That's something we've been a big proponent of since day one is cross compatibility as well, and they've established a lot of incredible partnerships in the with some industry titans, right? Like with Tommy Hilfiger and a number of others. So they've brought in some really great designs where you can change out. You can still keep your avatar, your singular avatar, but change out the outfits that they're wearing, the jacket, the pants, the shoes. In the last year, they've really revamped their platform a lot. I think taking a lot of great feedback and allowing you to mix and match more. Whereas before there was kind of more
Mm-hmm.
singular options, now there's a lot more flexibility where you can take, say, a jacket from an outfit and pants from another outfit and shoes from another one,
Yeah,
and really mix and match
that was a
and make
game
it your
changer.
own. Yeah, so we love them, a lot, and we're love having them integrated into the platform to allow you to do that. So on, from a spatial platform side, no plans to allow that level of customizability just yet. We like to rely on some of like our partners who are really good at that aspect of it, kind of own that. And then the spatial platform side, of course, we have kind of the full head to toe avatar body system,
You,
which has been doing really well.
what's crazy too is I collaborated with Hype3Wear, and
Yeah,
they we helped make this shirt, and
yeah.
we brought it into Ready Player. He brought it into his Ready Player Me hub, and then he would bring it into and connect it through Spatial. And there was like a bug where, like, because it Spatial only allows only spatial avatars, but you can like click on the tab where it says avatars, and it goes through all your Ready Player Me apps avatars. It'll be like,
Hmm.
this or that, and so I went to Hypeware's Ready Player Me link hub. I downloaded, I created my avatar, and so then I went
Hmm.
to Spatial, went to avatars, I went down and even though it had a do not enter, like it's not allowed, it still
Hmm.
worked. And
That's great.
yeah, and but now it doesn't, because they
Oh,
just did.
that's not great.
Yeah, so now they just did an update. So because I was so excited, I'm like, man, I could start selling some cool assets now if this is working. So
Yeah,
that's something to, if something to look out for, because that would be so cool, like
yeah.
to create an ecosystem like that. I have some questions from guests. So
Please, yeah. Let's hear
I
them.
have I have two questions from to Jake from Eda X Lab. What is your favorite "Are you serious" moment in Spatial? When the uh yeah, What's your favorite "Are you serious" moment in Spatial?
Like, are you serious? Like, wow, like
Yeah,
that's amazing, or like, why so serious? Like Joker, like, why so serious?
maybe like wow moment. I think wow moment.
I mean, it's really kind of all encompassing. I think one thing that I kind of pinch myself every day and go like, "Are you serious?" Is how, and this might sound a little like kitschy or cheesy or whatever, but it's true. Is really watching how so much of our community has gone on this journey with us and like yourself, of course, Ira, Mitch, like I'm seeing so many names like in the chat and like in the community that have like continued to go on this journey with us. Sometimes I ask myself like, why? And I know why, but it's just like it's just so amazing to see you so so in touch with the vision that we see, despite the fact that like it seems that the platform changes so much in terms of like where we're going or what we're focusing on. I mean, the ultimate vision is still the same, but to
Yeah.
see like your passion, dedication in learning new technologies to keep going on that road with us. Like when we like, there's so many of you that were there at the beginning, or I should say, you know, at the beginning, meaning like when we were on web and VR, you know, building immersive experiences there. Like for example, our friends at Polycount or M2 Studios, you know, Michael Potts, always give them a shout out. Like they've been doing incredible stuff in gaming now as well. We didn't originally support uh, custom virtual environments in spatial, meaning like we just had like I think it was like 4 or 5 templates that we built, and you can, you know, bring in images and videos and 3D models like into these like 4 templates, and that was it. But there was a an ask to basically support custom 3D worlds. Like you had a 3D model of, say, an airplane hangar or of a mountain. You wanted to use that as your virtual environment. We didn't support that originally. So Michael and his team rented a literal hangar because they had this huge virtual environment that they built and wanted to support
No
as like the shared
way.
virtual space. And the only way you could get that to work was creating a space and spatial in the abstract environment, which was just, you know, an empty space, bring in a 3D model, scale it up really, really big. And then in VR, there was a button to lock it so it couldn't be moved around. And the only way he could get it to scale was by literally having a hangar, a physical real world hangar that he could scale to really big, walk the full distance of the virtual
Whoa.
model, and get up high enough so he can click the lock button to lock it in place. So like that was something that I heard
Whoa.
was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like to go through that kind of dedication to to have, you know, custom virtual environments. Of course, we soon after went to support custom 3D environments. Much easier, just to click, boom, it's set. You don't have to go through this whole like renting a hangar to do it. Um, but it's examples like that of creators who go above and beyond to, even when the platform has shortfalls, you all figure out a way to build within the bounds of the platform, but build things that meet or exceed your needs. Like even more recently, I think it was it Fabricans, I think it was him, built. We support web requests in Unity experiences, so you can call data from other, you know, other services. And he built something that, you know, arguably we should have in the platform, but basically a notification system for anytime someone comes to visit your space, you get notified. But he built it with the Telegram API. So anyone comes to visit his space, he gets a message in Telegram saying, "Hey, so and so just entered your space." So
That's
it's
dope.
just amazing to see taking the platform and extending it in
Totally.
ways that really meet everyone's needs.
Totally. And I plan to extend it musically, you know, with my stuff. Like, I would love to bring in tracks in there. I would love to create and code like a 3D object that has like a player where you could pick, you know, you could buy the album, but it's a player.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely going to be looking into, you know, what I can do to be different and to have a fun ecosystem. Yeah, super exciting stuff, Jake. I want to thank you so much for your time. The hour flew by. And
Good.
yeah, I just want to thank you, Gia, Wonky, everyone over there. Man, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. You guys are killing it. You're crushing it. I believe in what is happening. And you
Thank
know,
you.
I think you guys are as transparent as can be, and I think that you're you know, you're ahead of the game. You guys are doing a really great job. I look forward to more advancements. I look forward to finding out what spatial surprise has in store for us. So is there any hints, any little droplets of knowledge here you could share with us?
Sure. Yeah. I believe tomorrow I'll give a little advance. We're finally revamping the edit experience on web. That's undergoing a complete overhaul, which is really, really exciting. Been long requested for a long, long time. Where it'll be much easier to bring in content into your space on web. So this is for the non-Unity folks, who I know have kind of gone, who haven't been addressed in a long time. We're finally bringing the web experience, the web editing experience, up to par, where it'll be much easier to find and edit assets that are in your 3D space. It'll really bring it, I'd say, into the 21st or 22nd century. So we'll have more to share in the next couple of days with that, but that's going to be a really big advancement for the web platform. So
Awesome.
looking forward to that.
And can you explain the pricing in detail a little bit? The pricing structure for spatial.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, earlier this year, I think it was in August, we moved to a different pricing structure that we felt was more representative of how the platform is being used, versus what we had before was kind of a much older pricing structure. Our Spatial Plus pricing structure is what we had before, and it's what we still have today. So people that were subscribed to Spatial Plus, nothing has changed for them with this new change. But we effectively moved from a per account pricing model to a per space pricing model, and we added additional tiers. So we have our free tier, which is really generous tier in terms of visitors and content you get in that experience, and then our pro, business, and then our enterprise tiers, each layering on more functionality geared towards if you're a pro creator, if you're more of a business, and then enterprise is more of a kind of a custom tier as well. And then sort of a fourth tier is our UGC, our public UGC tier. So if you're a creator building, a monetized experience, you're selling things with spatial coins, or you're really taking advantage of Unity and the creator toolkit, we don't want price to be a barrier to you getting your experience in front of more people. So we introduced the UGC tier that you can apply to, which effectively grants you more or less the same feature sets as our pro tier applied to your experience. So that way you can still get your experiences, in front of lots of people without the limits of the free tier. So if there's if there's like questions about that, why we did that, how we came to that decision, happy to address those like offline or things like that as well.
Man, you're awesome. Thank you. I know, like for me, the 3 years that I've spent in spatial, like it's gotten me to grow consciously. I've gotten to really figure out my brand. I get to test music out with these concerts and test ideas out, share real-time information with people and grow. Like I cannot tell you how much it's fast track. I was like, man, if I've never found this experience, I'd probably be like another 10 years of like trial and error, of
Hmm.
doing shows and doing this. So I've saved so much time, I've grown so much, I've learned how to work and brand myself. Really, really, really grateful for this new wave, this new internet that you're pioneering in. So shout out to everyone over at Spatial. You guys are awesome. Um, with that being said, thank you. I want to share with you. I have a surprise for you now, Jake.
Oh
Um,
wow. Okay.
so I now am creating a bit more music. I'm getting a bit more involved with my music and I'm like spreading it out. I have this schedule where on Fridays and Mondays I do this amazing podcast. On Tuesday, we go in spatial, we talk about Unity, and we kind of share what we're working on. On Wednesday, we have the concert, we have Mitch Jackson's event in the morning. And then Thursday, I go surfing, I live stream that on YouTube. But basically, what I wanted to say was that I created a remix of Bonita. So I spend on
Nice.
Thursdays when I surf. I also spend some time and I spread my music out, and make sure that I work on music as well. So I wanted to share with you a little 11-second snippet of like
Ooh,
me. I created this beat, I created these chords, and then I was like, you know what? I wanna add a crazy melody. I really wanna play with the MIDI, and so I created a melody, and then I created a melody within that melody and joined them, and it created this
awesome.
really cool synth. So I'm gonna like start the song off slow, and I'm gonna bring in this melody like and make it punch and hit hard. So this is kind of like that punch part, and the vocals you're gonna hear are samples from Bonita. So and
Okay.
it's gonna be for the hook. So the verses are gonna be completely fresh, completely new, Spanish and English combined. So check this out.
Sick. Yeah. I don't hear it.
Oh,
I'm
you
not hearing
don't?
it on my end.
Oh, oh,
I don't hear it on my end.
oh. Got
No.
you, got you, got you.
The bass in your head beats
Here we,
keeps pulling me.
here we go.
So
One second. Can you hear it now?
yep.
Que bonita.
There it is. There it is.
So yeah, man.
Sick. I can't wait for the rest of that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a hot beat. I have elements in there that you haven't heard yet. You're gonna trip. I'm really excited, and I'm gonna add it to the NFT collection for everybody. So it's gonna be like a double whammy. It's gonna be really cool.
That's awesome, man. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
And Bonita is the token gate for a lot of my spatial spaces. So in the future, this is all going to come together so great. And
Yeah.
it's great, man. So thank you. It was great seeing you, Jake.
You too, man.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me. This is awesome.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.